According to the National Library of Medicine, a research paper that was published in the February of 2019 issue of the Journal of Autism and Developmental Disorders, it was reported that between 50 and 80% of all children with autism spectrum disorder had some type of insomnia. These symptoms could include delayed sleep onset, impaired sleep maintenance, early awakenings, and subsequent daytime fatigue. As you might imagine, insufficient sleep can lead to learning problems at school as well as behavioral issues at both school and home. Autistic children who do not get enough sleep are also likely to have more severe social problems. Insufficient sleep has been linked to more instances of challenging behavior, attention deficit disorder, depression, and obsessive-compulsive disorder. A 2018 survey that was conducted by the National Autism Society in the United Kingdom found that 70% of all adult respondents claimed that they also had issues with insomnia. Neurologists do not yet understand why so many people with autism have issues with insomnia. Here are some theories as to why neurodivergent people may have problems with falling asleep. One theory suggests that these problems may be genetic. It's possible that if you're having problems falling asleep, this problem could have been passed on by one or both of your parents. Another theory says that since people with ASD are hyper-responsive to sensory input, we may have a harder time falling asleep due to sensory issues from the noise of a dripping faucet, the whirl of a ceiling fan, the wind that's rustling the branches of a tree, sensitivity to fabric, itchiness, or worrisome thoughts over issues that occurred earlier in the day. Some studies have suggested that there's a physiological component because people with autism produce less melatonin at night. Melatonin is a sleep-related hormone that our brains create in response to darkness. It's also possible that people with autism have other medical conditions that could play havoc with their ability to sleep. This could include sleep apnea, acid reflux, ADHD, anxiety, and obsessive-compulsive disorders. When I was much younger and was working as an elementary teacher, there were nights when I couldn't sleep at all and I would then go to work without having had any rest. The lack of sleep made me cranky and irritable, which made it even more challenging for me to do my job as a third-grade teacher. This is what I eventually did to compensate for my problem. One of the first things I noticed when I realized that I was having problems with falling asleep was that I didn't necessarily associate my bed with a place for sleeping. In addition to using my bed for sleep, I liked lying on it to read. I also found it more comfortable for watching television. In an effort to change the way I thought about my bed, I began to read books in the living room. I also began watching television in the living room. One of my favorite sodas at the time was Coca-Cola. The problem with this was that regular Coke has 39 grams of sugar per serving. It also has 39 milligrams of caffeine. When people ingest sugar, the human body reacts by releasing insulin. The resulting drop in blood sugar can lead to the release of hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol, which interfere with sleep. Caffeine is a stimulant that works by blocking sleep-promoting receptors in the brain. Since stimulants from sugar and caffeine can last for about 6 hours, I learned to stop drinking sodas at least 6 hours before when I usually went to bed. Because I have sensitive skin, I began to purchase more expensive but much softer bedsheets with high thread counts. A thread count is the number of threads that can be found in a square inch of fabric. A good thread count usually ranges from 200 to 800, but there are some thread counts that go up to 1000 or even more. The soft bed sheets felt better against my skin than cheaper sheets that also felt more coarse. I also made sure to take a bath or shower before going to bed so as to feel clean. Since artificial soaps often contain sodium lauryl sulfate, which is used to break down oils, using this kind of soap will actually exacerbate dry skin conditions because it removes the natural oils that your body secretes to help keep your skin from drying out. Instead of using products like liquid soft soap which contains sodium lauryl sulfate, I now use natural soaps made with vegetable oil, cocoa butter, olive oil, aloe vera, jojoba, or avocado. At one time I even made my own soaps. Since all things culinary have long been one of my prevailing interests, instead of making bar soaps, I made soap that looked like real food. Here is a picture of a T-bone steak soap that I once made. This is a cinnamon roll soap that actually smells like a cinnamon roll. I once even made a slice of blueberry pie soap just to see if I could. The pie smelled of blueberries, cinnamon, and freshly baked shortbread. Since I am extremely sensitive to sounds, I began running a fan in my bedroom because the constant drone created a white noise effect that could drown out the sound of rustling leaves, chirping crickets, and even the rumble of passing cars. I have also long since learned that I tend to sleep better when the temperature is no higher than 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Even though this adds to the cost of my electric bill during the height of the summer, I will lower the temperature at night to 72 degrees to make it easier for me to sleep. Late fall and winter are my favorite times of the year for sleeping because I don't spend a lot of money on heating, and the cold weather makes it easier for me to fall asleep. For a brief time I even used over-the-counter sleep medications but finally decided that I didn't like the idea of being chemically dependent upon sleeping aids. While doctors can prescribe stronger medications that include a class of drugs known as sedative hypnotics, you should be aware that the use of this sort of medication can lead to dependency and addiction. In recent years, YouTube has seen a plethora of sleep aid videos that include the sound of falling rain, the ebb and flow of ocean waves, and the trickle of babbling brooks. Some people even fall asleep to the sound of hurricane-force winds or howling blizzards. On cold winter days when I don't necessarily want to turn on a fan because it's already quite cool, I will sometimes play a YouTube video. I particularly like a video called Rain Sound on Window with Thunder Sounds, which was produced by Relaxing Ambience ASMR. In addition to liking the sound effects of a thunderstorm, I also like this particular video because the falling rain can be viewed from a window of a mountainside home. The fact that this home is on a mountain means that nobody could possibly peer through the window. Although I know that this is a video and have literally played this film over 100 times, I can't help the way I feel. I can't watch videos of rain-swept streets because in the back of my head I have the irrational thought that someone will walk by and look at me. I also can't watch rain falling on a road because I half expect to see a vehicle hurtling towards me. I once watched a video about koi swimming in a pond while it was raining. The video shifted to the scene of a park trail and I was suddenly startled awake when someone came trudging along the wet trail and stopped to peer at the camera. Ever since then I've limited my viewing to just this one particular video. Some people have also found that exercise following by a bath or shower to get rid of the sweat is beneficial if you do this activity at least 1 hour before going to bed. It is the nature of our bodies to want to sleep when we're physically exhausted because sleeping helps us to recover energy. A meta-analysis in the October 29, 2018 issue of Sports Medicine reviewed 23 research studies that evaluated the use of exercise and sleep. It found that healthy adults who performed a single session of exercise at least an hour before bed slept better and deeper than adults who did not. When I go to sleep, I find a comfortable sleeping position and will close my eyes. In recent years, I have found that meditation helps with falling asleep. I'm not talking about assuming a lotus position while sitting in bed while making an sound. I'm simply talking about emptying my mind of distracting faults and simply focusing on each breath that I take. Since I have some obsessive-compulsive tendencies, I have a tendency to want to overthink things. I sometimes find myself obsessing over experiences that I may have had earlier in the day or worrying about things that could happen tomorrow. I have found that a good sleeping practice is to not do this. Whenever I find my mind wandering, I will forcefully drag my attention back to the present. I will still my thoughts and focus my attention on the act of falling asleep. I breathe in. I breathe out. I slowly inhale and then I slowly exhale. I lie as still as possible and, if all goes well, eventually.
If you found this video interesting and would like to support this channel, please click on the like and subscribe buttons. If you have thoughts regarding other topics that I could address in a future video, please feel free to add your suggestions to the comments below.